The Apollo story, humanity's greatest journey. The Apollo program wasn't just a series of space missions. It was humanity's greatest leap into the unknown. It showed us that with courage, determination, and unity, we could achieve the impossible. This is the story of Apollo, from its tragic beginning to its triumphant legacy. It all began with a challenge. On May 25, 1961, President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress and announced an audacious goal. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. America was locked in the Cold War with the Soviet Union, and the space race was heating up. The Soviets had already put the first satellite, Sputnik, and the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space. But Kennedy's words ignited a spark, and NASA began work on what would become the Apollo program, an effort to land humans on the moon and bring them back safely. This bold vision united a generation. It wasn't just about technology or politics. It was about proving that humanity could achieve greatness when it worked together. The Apollo program, however, didn't start with triumph. It started with tragedy. On January 27, 1967, during a routine pre-launch test for Apollo 1, disaster struck. A fire broke out in the command module, killing astronauts Gus Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Chaffee. The nation mourned as NASA faced one of its darkest moments. The tragedy revealed flaws in the spacecraft's design, including a high-pressure oxygen atmosphere and an escape hatch that couldn't be opened quickly. NASA halted all crewed flights to redesign the spacecraft, improve safety protocols, and honor the fallen astronauts by ensuring their sacrifice wasn't in vain. The lesson was clear. Failure is a harsh teacher, but it paves the way for future success. The road to the moon was paved with preparation. The Apollo 4, 5, and 6 missions were unmanned tests designed to ensure that NASA's systems could withstand the challenges of space. Apollo 4 launched the Saturn V rocket, the most powerful rocket ever built, into orbit. Apollo 5 tested the lunar module's ability to land and take off, and Apollo 6 pushed the spacecraft's limits under extreme conditions. These missions were crucial. NASA had to get everything right before risking human lives again. Each test brought NASA closer to its goal, proving the importance of preparation and perseverance. In October 1968, Apollo returned to crewed spaceflight with Apollo 7. This mission orbited Earth for 11 days, testing the redesigned command module and proving that NASA was ready to send humans into space again. It also made history as the first live television broadcast from space, showing a world ready to dream again. The lesson here was simple. Setbacks don't define you. Your response does. Then came Apollo 8, humanity's first journey to the moon. In December 1968, Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders became the first humans to leave Earth's orbit and travel to the moon. They didn't land, but they orbited the moon, sending back breathtaking images. Among them was Earthrise, the first photo to show Earth from the perspective of another world, a fragile blue marble floating in the vastness of space. This moment inspired the world. It reminded us of our shared humanity and the importance of protecting our planet. Sometimes you have to leave home to truly appreciate it. Next came Apollo 9 and Apollo 10, laying the groundwork for the moon landing. Apollo 9 tested the lunar module, nicknamed Spider, in Earth's orbit, while Apollo 10 conducted a full dress rehearsal for the moon landing. The crew of Apollo 10 flew the lunar module to within 47,000 feet of the lunar surface before returning to the command module. These missions proved that NASA was ready for its defining moment. The lesson? Rehearse for greatness. Every small step builds confidence for the big leap. And then, on July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 made history. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins took humanity's first steps on the moon. As Armstrong descended the lunar module's ladder, his words echoed across the globe. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind. They planted the American flag, conducted experiments, and collected 47.5 pounds of lunar material. For the first time, humanity had left its mark on another world. Apollo 11 wasn't just a mission. It was a symbol of what humanity could achieve when it dreamed big and worked hard. But Apollo wasn't done. The missions that followed pushed boundaries even further. Apollo 12 demonstrated precision landing, touching down near the robotic Surveyor 3 probe. Apollo 13, famously called NASA's successful failure, turned a near disaster into a testament to human ingenuity after an oxygen tank exploded. Thanks to quick thinking, the crew returned safely to Earth. Apollo 14 focused on scientific exploration, and astronaut Alan Shepard even played golf on the moon. Apollo 15 brought the lunar rover, allowing astronauts to travel farther and discover more, including the 4-billion-year-old Genesis rock. Apollo 16, 7 and finally, Apollo 17 closed the chapter in December 1972. It was the last Apollo mission and the first to carry a geologist astronaut, Harrison Schmitt. The crew brought back more lunar samples than any previous mission and captured the famous blue marble photo of Earth, vivid reminder of our planet's beauty and fragility. Apollo 17 marked the end of an era, but its legacy endures. The lesson of Apollo 17: even endings can be beginnings. Every accomplishment inspires the next generation to dream bigger. The Apollo program showed us what humanity is capable of. In just 11 years, it took us from tragedy to triumph, from the Earth to the moon. It united a divided world, inspired generations, and proved that with courage, dedication, and vision, anything is possible. As NASA prepares to return to the moon with the Artemis program, the lessons of Apollo remind us of one thing: the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.